Good evening, all. This is Trader72. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and like. It's been already a week of it. We are midweek Wednesday. The evening is beckoning here in London. We've still got some daytime, which is quite nice to see. So I'm very, very pleased about that because it means potentially summer is on its way back from the dark winter days and the cold, damp winter days, even, should I say. But it's been a great day today. I've actually got some news in terms of my trading for the first time this week since I bought Visa last Friday. Just to recap a little bit in terms of from my recent shows, I've kind of mentioned this already. I'm here as a small retail investor, and I'm here to just advise on my trials and tribulation of trading. I've had 11 years of on and off trading, starting with my father, and I just wanted to, to kind of let you know, guys, in terms of, pretty much black and white what I'm doing. I'm very crystal clear, no BS in terms of my trading. I trade with a small account on a spread betting platform, which is not for everybody, but it is for me at the moment. And I don't trade with thousands of pounds of profit or £1,000,000 profit. I trade and I sometimes make £150, £200. I lose money, and I have done it in the past, and I've also made money. But it is also about patience and waiting, which is what I'm still learning today. This is not my daytime job. This is my second job after I do recruitment for the film business. But I am more and more getting involved in this, and this is why I'm done a YouTube channel, just to kind of help people that are coming in. I wish I had that 10, 11 years ago. It was probably before the heydays of YouTube as well. So many great people to listen to now, and I just want to add to maybe people that have just come in as small retail investors that want to learn a bit more about maybe how to, get hold of news and how to explain a few of the jargon that happens as well within the markets. And also people maybe that are a bit more experienced that just want to maybe sound out, because sometimes when you're on your own trading, sometimes it's nice to hear somebody else telling you, oh my God, I've made this, or I've made a mistake of that, or actually been successful doing this, and this is how I came to do this. So all about my trading strategies, about the latest news, maybe news that you've not had time to look for, which I have compiled for you guys. So at the moment I'm looking at probably 1 or 2 programs a day in terms of morning diary and evening's diary, depending on my schedule. Today it's been mostly an evening diary because I have some news in terms of trading. But before we go to my trading news, let's go for today's news altogether. So today the IEA has confirmed to plan and stabilize prices of crude oil due to the conflict in the Middle East to 400 million barrels, which has certainly helped oil prices stabilize. Now, who is the IEA? This is again things that I never knew about myself, but I'm going to show you guys. IEA stands for International Energy Agency. It's an intergovernmental organization, so it's a middle ground. It's a body of work which you have between the oil prices and what's going on. Obviously, after the main crisis of 1973, the oil prices there, which I wasn't even aware of, that shows my age, only by 1 year. And it was founded in 1974, and it's a headquarter in Paris. So they will, release, they do all sorts of different things, but energy security, economic growth, environmental sustainability, and so forth. So that is what they do. They've obviously they're a bit like the Feds in America, I suppose, for the banking system in a way. Don't quote me on that, but that's pretty similar. And they release obviously extra barrels when needed at that stage. So clearly that has helped to ease the market a little bit there, considering that the Strait of Hormuz obviously has been closed by the Iranians, and it has this issue obviously when that happens in terms of where we go forward. So that is the situation at the moment. Now, moving forward to the other bits of news is obviously the CPI news that have come in at the moment. It's come in, and obviously let's go have a quick look at the CPI news for now, which is happening now. So 0.3%. Ticked from 0.2 and currently at 2.4. Now, 2.4 year on year is the actual inflation. The Feds would like this to be at 2%, so it's sticky and it's moving a bit too high for their likings. Now, see, that hasn't moved. The markets, I think, were quite affected, specifically the financial market and the sector, which brings me to my bit of news today in terms of my position, which has been added to S&P Global. Now, there is a madness to my next step here, but I'm going to go straight to what S&P Global, and S&P Global at the moment, as it stands, I just bought a second tranche at $421.57. My first tranche was at 435. Now, I did say that I would buy in again at 420 if I get the chance, and there did the chance. Now, the reason why S&P Global has dropped dramatically is for this specific reason. So I can explain to you my madness there in terms of why I've added the madness. Well, maybe madness or maybe not. It has been affected by today's CPI interest rates. Now, the financial system has been affected. I think pretty much all the banking system and Visa card and MasterCard have also been affected, because obviously the higher the inflation goes up, the less people spend. Consumerism goes down. It also not just affects individual consumers, but also companies that want to borrow or leverage money. And this is what S&P Global do. They actually give you a credit rating, but they also issue, as it says there, corporate borrowing. So if a company wants to borrow money, they do it through a corporate bond, which is bonds are LUs, and they get also a credit rating and advisory services from S&P Global. So they do they get this full service there. Of course, if the companies don't borrow money and they don't go and you don't supply bonds, then obviously it will affect the revenue of S&P Global. Especially in that department. They've got 4 different parts, so it doesn't completely affect. I think it's slightly overdone, if I'm really, going to be honest, in terms of the actual drop-off today. But it does explain why the stock has gone down. Obviously, it also supplies insurance. Inflation increases claim costs, affecting insurance companies' profit. SPGI's rating segment, so that rates for inflation, for insurance. So rating segment evaluating insurers, so high volatility can directly affect SPGI service demand. I think the biggest takeaway is this bit here, the loan and corporate borrowing. The rest of it is, the credit rating does for a lot of different companies. But obviously if companies don't leverage up due to, for certain different reasons, they want to buy a new company or they want to do a buyback, that's where SPGI comes in. So I think that's the main takeover, the reason of the drop off today in that respect, and I think for the rest of the banking system as well. So CPI has had quite an effect on that. But for now anyway, well, I'm happy to have added to my position at S&P Global. It looks like it's actually dropping back at the moment to 426, but slightly in the red at £45, but I'm happy to have bought a second tranche. So I've increased my position to 8,567 shares. That is a deposit money of £1,700. As you know, it is about deposit, and you borrow money against that obviously. And this is, for some of you who know about spread betting, is 0.2 points, 0.1 and another 0.1 to add. So as you will see here, it is now officially my biggest position in my portfolio. By almost potentially or just under about £1,000 above Adobe being my second biggest position at 7679, followed by Visa on 3141. So very pleased about that adding there. Whether that works out, I don't know. I will probably buy more, and this is the point of being a value investor. This is where you follow this notification of where you want to be in terms of moving into buying more as the stock falls, as long as the company makes sense and the fundamentals are good. Now, please do not follow this my exact trading strategy. I'm here just for advisory. I'm not a financial advisor or in stock experience. So please do be careful and do your own due diligence on research before you buy into S&P Global or any stock that I suggest. I have done quite a bit there in terms of research. So at this moment in time, this is where I would be looking at in terms of happy of buying in that stock. But I did, like I said, do a lot of research and found out. Now, it's not always easy to find information. So as you can see, I had to dig deep to find that information. You can find that on most of the AI platforms, really, if I'm honest. This is the beauty of it now, is that you can get information so much quicker than when I first started in the industry 11 years ago. It was really, we were always the last ones to know. And there's definitely a more of an even even grounds now for small retail investors to find information without having a Bloomberg in terminal that will give you immediate information, which the city guys used to get. So I'm still, we're still lagging behind. There's still room to improve, but definitely to find out more information. Now, the other, we've done all the news now, and I've talked about my top up on S&P Global. The other bit of news which you can see from this is the fact that I've bought into crude oil. Now, it's not something I would normally do and add to my portfolio. It does look a little bit out of place because crude oil is a commodity and I'm not a commodity trader. But when the opportunity comes up, as I said to you in the previous show, I think yesterday, if something happens like the pound versus the dollar is at its lowest ever, it is always worth to look at. So as you can see, I have bought short on crude oil at $92.33 a barrel. The reason being is I feel that the crude oil will eventually go back to its initial start, which was just around $70 to $75 a barrel pre obviously war with Iran. So I think that eventually there will be some kind of, whether peace or whatever it may be. The Americans obviously have clearly done a lot of bombing of Iran. Iran's obviously retaliating. I am not here, by the way, for political reasoning or give you my advice on my own political advice. I am just purely trading on what is going on out there. So I'm trying to keep it as neutral as I can. I'm only just giving you the information and my thoughts in terms of where crude oil will go eventually. Now, very hard to tell what will happen in the future. Obviously, a tanker could God forbid, go down and be hit, and that will spike the price up. So there is an element of risk to this. So do please be careful before buying into any of those commodities, because commodities are much more spiky and much more violent than stock prices are. And of course, it's more of a hedging your bets than actually a strategy as it was with stocks and shares. So at this moment, I know that share price is slightly eased out by the IEA, we discussed earlier on, and it is currently steady at around 92.5. Now, my stop loss would be about 140 because I don't want to get stopped out early. By the same token, I have also a profit taking around the 80 to 75 mark, which would give me a tidy sum of, a profit there, maybe £500 profit, because I did buy a small amount, only about 0.2 points, and that's £185 margin. Obviously, because it's a margin, it's a stock, not stock, a commodity. It is obviously slightly less than buying into a stock. So 1,846 shares currently I've bought into. So there isn't a minimum of risk versus reward by buying a smaller amount. And I will sit on my hands and wait it out. Now, I'm a little bit nervous, I've got to be honest, because you just never know if something may happen that will spike the price. But I'm hoping that it will steady up, and then eventually, as the war runs out of steam, that we will go back to some kind of normality. Now, simple strategy, people might say, but that is me doing a lot of research, finding out a lot about the Strait of Hormuz, which obviously is a major player there. So we'll see what happens. As you will see at the moment, I'm literally, again, for complete clarity, £4.10 down. Could be looking at a tidy sum if it was to spike up at some stage, or spike down even at some stage. So I have actually shorted crude oil. So that is my two major bit of news for the day, for the evening show. Been a busy boy today, and hopefully, we'll see what happens. Now, Visa, just to kind of recap, Adobe's tomorrow's result is going to be massive for me. So in terms of where the stock price will go, I'm hoping that it's going to be good numbers and a good forward guidance. But, that will obviously be down to Adobe. I have no idea what to expect. I think the numbers will be strong in terms of the last quarter. But as usual, the forward guidance will be all right. And also the AI monetization. But I can maybe do a bit more of a feature on that tomorrow with Adobe and give you a little bit more information about that. But I am all in with them at the moment, as you can see, with 7,000 shares. And two different tranches that I bought, obviously, before I started doing the value investing. So I will say that is a legacy mistake where I bought maybe too soon, too quick, and it was a falling knife. Again, the falling knife word. But I still have faith in the company because the company has, again, amazing fundamentals. I do not invest in any company that don't have amazing fundamentals and good numbers and also a good share price. And in this instance, my margin of safety was very slim. And that, again, is a lesson to us all. When you buy into a company, make sure that you have a minimum of 20-25% discount. When I bought that stock, it was pretty much at 5-10%. So there's always a fallback there in that respect. So Visa's gone obviously back today due to, again, the CPI news and the hot inflation. So probably from there, we are going to stick with that. I'd love to add to it, but at the moment I've got to be very careful with my margin. Please, guys, do be careful with your margin of safety in margins, especially if you're spread betting. I've learned the hard way. When I've lost a lot of money, I got wiped out once when I did not overtraded and I lost and I got closed down. So it is at 50% of your trading of your account. So do make sure you don't. So at the moment, I am holding back. That's pretty much maxed out at the moment. I still got a bit of money to spend in terms of possibly buying into another tranche or possibly a new stock. But for now, I think we are pretty happy with what I've got. I will take another look at Visa because I am actually 2 finance stocks are on my portfolio. I'd like to slightly diversify. So obviously you all know that I'm keen on a few other companies such as Microsoft here, which is obviously a great stock to buy, and it's pretty much just above the 200 moving average and at a good price. Again, fairly good discount, above 20%. And so something that I would definitely be looking at. United Healthcare as well, I've started looking at. Again, I might do some more research on that. Again, a very, very big company, big established network effect, great moat, but having issues as well with other parts, which we can go into further another time. Sprout as well I look at, but again, litigations with that, I'm not quite sure yet. Again, worth keeping an eye. Currently, the market are down 375 points and 72 points respectively on the Nasdaq. Gold is slightly down. UK 100 is also down by 30 points, but pretty good today. But I think the main takeaway is obviously the CPI news coming up a little bit higher or a bit hotter, and the continuation of the issue with crude oil and the Middle East is clearly a problem. So that is it for now. I think I've kind of covered most of the news. I've waffled at you for quite a bit. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. Please subscribe and like. This is Tader72, and I will see you for hopefully tomorrow morning, because I will be back doing a tomorrow morning show, pre-market, and we will see you then. Please take care. I'm off to rest. It's been a hell of a day, but I'm happy with my trading. But like I said, the ups and downs, it's all black and white. I'm being very honest with you guys in that respect. So hope you enjoyed the show, and I will speak to you very soon.